Finally, part 3. Let's talk about common linking verbs and give some examples. Now let's talk about the group of linking verbs. Fortunately, this is a limited group. There are not a lot of linking verbs in English. It's not necessary to go out and find a list and memorize the list. Just learn to recognize when something is a complement. The most common linking verb by far is the be verb. All forms, am, is, are, was, were, been, to be, being. If it's the main verb or working like the main verb, then it is a linking verb. For example, the students are in the cafeteria. This is a prepositional complement. Where are the students? The tests were not so difficult. Adjective complement. Don't be late tomorrow. Adjective complement, late. I have been a teacher for 30 years. Noun complement. I and teacher are the same person. The next most common use for linking verbs is to show change. 4 verbs do this most commonly: get, become, grow, and turn. For example, the weather is getting warmer. The temperature is changing. Kai became a doctor to help people. He changed his situation. He changed his life. When you get older, your hair starts to turn gray. Your age changes. Your hair changes color. Skylar must be cold. His lips are turning blue. His lips are changing color. And finally, we have the 5 senses. Look, sound, taste, smell, and feel. For eyes, ears, tongue, nose, and hands. That cloud looks like an elephant. Here you have a prepositional complement, like an elephant, that describes the cloud. Your trip sounds exciting. Exciting is an adjective complement. Baker's chocolate tastes very bitter. Bitter describes baker's chocolate. So taste is a linking verb. Bitter is an adjective complement. Something smells like rotten eggs. Again, we have this like preposition, this like prepositional complement describing something, describing the smell. And finally, if you feel cold, put on a jacket. Cold describes my feeling. So how do you know if you have an object or a complement? Well, to decide whether you have an action verb with an object or a linking verb with a complement, try adding the subject and object complement together. If you add the 2 nouns together, the subject and object, and they equal 2, meaning 2 different things, 2 different people, 1 thing, 1 person, then you have a subject-object, SVO clause. However, if the subject and complement, those 2 nouns together, are the same thing, the same person, then you have a subject-noun complement. Also, if the verb is followed by a noun, that means almost always you have an action verb with a direct object. Remember that only the be verb and become are commonly followed by a noun complement. However, if you have a verb plus an adjective, that is always a linking verb with a complement. Let's look at some examples. I turned on the TV so I could see it better. Well, I and TV are different things, so you have an SVO clause with a subject and object because you have one person, I, and one thing, TV. However, the lake turned into a solid sheet of ice. In this case, you have an SVC clause because lake and sheet of ice are the same thing. Turn into is a phrasal linking verb that shows change. The chef tasted the soup to see if it needed more salt. In this case, you have an SVO clause because you have chef and you have soup, one person, one thing. So taste is an action verb and soup is a noun direct object. The food tasted wonderful. In this case, you have to have an SVC clause because food is described by the adjective wonderful. That's enough for today's lesson. Congratulations for making it this far. I hope to see you in another lesson soon. Aloha.